Hello, friends. This is Confessions with Amy. Here we share new confessions every day.
You know that moment when your stomach drops, but your body hasn't moved an inch? When you realize life as you knew it just ended? That was me. Standing in Terminal C of the Denver International Airport. 3 hours early, just like Mom told me to. I was so proud of myself for not being late. Turns out, I wasn't just on time. I was 6 hours too late. The flight to Mauritius was gone. Already in the air. Already gone, with my family on board. Without me. I stared at the departure board, blinking like it would suddenly fix itself. Flight 6123 to Mauritius. Departure, 10 a.m. Gate closed. But they told me the flight was at 4:30 p.m. They told me that. My mom looked me in the eyes yesterday, smiled, and said, "Don't worry, Blythe. Just be there by 1:30 p.m, we'll all check in together." I trusted her. I trusted them. I took out my phone, hands trembling. Maybe I'd made a mistake. Maybe I misread something. But then the message popped up. Like a bullet straight to the chest. "Mom, why didn't you come to the airport today?" 2 minutes later. Taryn, my sister, a selfie on the beach. The caption burned into my brain. Best vacation ever. They were smiling. Beaming. Without me. I kept staring at the photo, my throat closing tighter and tighter. My dad was in the background, holding a coconut drink like this was the best day of his life. And me? I was sitting on a cold metal bench in a terminal I was never meant to reach. Do you know what it feels like to realize you've been erased? Not forgotten. Not by accident. Erased. Intentionally. I wanted to believe it was a mix-up. That something went wrong. That it wasn't what it looked like. But deep down, I knew. I always knew. It wasn't the first time they made me feel like I didn't belong. But this was the final, perfect cut. I slowly typed one word back. Enjoy. I blocked them all. Mother. Father. Sister. One by one. Delete. Block. Silence. Standing there, I felt weightless. Like the world had just let go of me. Like maybe now, I could let go too. It was over. I was free. They had finally given me the perfect reason to walk away. And I would never come back. People always say, but they're your family. As if that's supposed to excuse everything. As if biology is a free pass for betrayal. But the truth is, family is where you first learn how it feels to not be enough. Looking back, the signs were always there. Tiny cuts that didn't bleed until now. Like how Mom would always, accidentally, leave me out of group texts. Or how Dad's eyes would light up when Taryn walked into the room, but flicker off like a dying bulb when I spoke. Taryn. Golden child. Instagram perfect, homecoming queen, always getting it right. Me? I was the too much daughter. Too serious. Too opinionated. Too inconvenient. They called me dramatic when I cried. Ungrateful when I questioned. Selfish when I wanted to feel seen. And I wanted to believe they loved me. I really did. So I told myself stories. Little lies I could survive in. Mom's just stressed. Dad's just tired. Taryn doesn't mean it like that. But now I see it. They didn't forget me. They excluded me. This wasn't an accident. This was a plan. I remembered the phone call 2 nights before the flight. Mom's tone was unusually sweet. "Don't overthink, honey. Just be there by 1:30, okay? We're all so excited to go together." Together. That word stuck in my throat like glass. How long had they been planning this? How long had they sat in rooms, looked at calendars, booked flights, knowing I wouldn't be on that plane? How do you plan to leave your own daughter behind? It wasn't just the flight. It was birthday parties I wasn't invited to. It was family photos where I was too busy to be called. It was Christmas mornings where my gift cards were still in their plastic sleeves while Taryn unwrapped custom-made jewelry. It was a slow erasure. And I had let it happen. Because I was so desperate to be loved. I accepted scraps and called it a feast. But now, sitting in my car outside that airport, staring at the blank screen of my phone, I made a promise to myself. No more begging for seats at their table. No more chasing their approval like a stray dog hoping for crumbs. They could keep their perfect vacation. They could keep their picture-perfect family. I was done. I wasn't angry. Not yet. I was empty. But I knew the anger would come. The fire would come. And when it did, I wouldn't run from it. I'd build something with it. Something that didn't include them. The funny thing about cutting people off. They never believe you'll actually do it. They think silence is a phase. That you'll come crawling back when the sting fades. That you'll remember you're the daughter, and they're the family, and that's supposed to override everything. But they didn't know me at all. Silence wasn't a tantrum. It wasn't a weapon. It was a door. One I had closed. One I would never reopen. At first, they didn't seem to notice. A few days passed. Nothing. No follow-up messages. No missed calls. Maybe they thought I was just sulking. Then, 2 weeks later, I got the first voicemail. Mom's voice, overly bright, almost rehearsed. Hey sweetie, just checking in. We're having such a great time. The beaches here are stunning. You should have come. Anyway, call us when you're free. Love you. I didn't call back. 2 days after that. Another voicemail. This time from Dad, who never used to call me first. Hey, Blythe. I guess there was some confusion with the flights. Let's talk about it when we get back, okay? Don't blow this out of proportion. Out of proportion. Like I had tripped over my own feelings again. Like this was my fault for being hurt. I let the message rot in my inbox. Then Taryn texted me. Taryn, Blythe, this is ridiculous. You're acting like a child. It was just a mistake. Don't make this bigger than it is. But it wasn't a mistake. Mistakes don't have timestamps. Mistakes don't post beach selfies with captions like, best vacation ever, before asking where you are. I didn't respond. I went dark. No posts. No stories. Nothing they could see. I wanted them to feel the weight of my absence. Not my anger. Not my sadness. My absence. Silence became my language. Silence became my power. When they returned from Mauritius, the messages turned sharp. Dad, you're being cruel. Your mother is worried sick. Taryn, seriously? Are you just going to ghost us forever? What's your problem? Mom, Blythe, this is not how family works. We make mistakes. We move on. Pick up the phone. But the thing is, that is how family works. When you show someone over and over that they're disposable, you don't get to act surprised when they finally walk away. They didn't expect my silence to last. They didn't expect me to stay gone. But I did. And with every day that passed, their grip on me loosened. And mine on myself tightened. They thought I'd come back. But I had already started building a life where they no longer existed. Cutting ties with family isn't just about saying no. It's about saying yes to yourself. For the first time in my life, I was forced to do that. No one was going to fix this for me. No one was going to pick up the pieces. I had to become my own savior. I threw myself into work. Graphic design, my passion, my escape. Every late night, every sketch, every client email was a brick in the foundation of my new life. Slowly, I started to see myself not as the girl they left behind, but as someone who could create, build, and shine, all on her own. I moved out of the tiny apartment I shared with my parents' shadow and into a tiny studio downtown Denver. No roommates, no distractions, just me, my laptop, and my dreams. The first paycheck I earned on my own felt like freedom. Not just money, but validation. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. And with every success, I felt the old pain shrink. Not disappear, no. But turn into fuel. Fuel for ambition. Fuel for self-love. Fuel for revenge, not the cruel kind, but the kind that says, "Look what I've become." Without you, friends, I found new ones. People who saw me, who believed in me, who didn't make me feel like an afterthought. I learned to celebrate my own victories, to give myself credit when no one else would. It wasn't easy. Some nights the loneliness hit like a freight train. But I remembered one thing. I had the power now. I chose this life. And I would make it better than the one they planned without me. When I look in the mirror today, I see a woman who survived the worst kind of betrayal and turned it into her greatest strength. I don't need their approval anymore. I'm not waiting for their forgiveness. I'm too busy building a life that even they could never take away. I never wanted them to realize. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I didn't want them to have that power over me. But power is a tricky thing. It slips away slowly, then hits you like a punch in the gut. The day they realized what they lost wasn't marked by a single event. It was a series of small cracks in their perfect family picture. The first text came from Mom. "Blythe, we've made terrible mistakes. We want you back." I read it twice. Once to make sure my eyes weren't playing tricks. Twice to make sure I wasn't dreaming. Then came calls from Dad, filled with apologies that sounded rehearsed. Taryn's messages were desperate, borderline pleading. "Please don't shut us out forever. You're our sister. Our family." But family is more than a label. It's actions. It's respect. It's loyalty. They had none of those for me. I sat with the messages for a long time. Not responding. Because silence was my answer now. And it was louder than any words. I had built a life without them. A life full of people who chose me every day. No apology could erase the years of being erased. No promise could fix what they broke. They understood, finally, that they had lost me. But some losses are permanent. I'm not bitter. I'm free. And that's the greatest victory of all. The hardest part about losing people isn't the absence. It's learning to fill that space with something better. I did that. I built a life on my own terms. A life where I'm not defined by their rejection, but by my own strength. I launched my own design studio. Clients from across the country. Recognition. Respect. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was thriving. More importantly, I found peace. Not the kind that comes from forgetting, but the kind that comes from knowing your worth. Friends became family. People who loved me without conditions. I traveled on my own terms, to places I chose, with people who lifted me up. And every time I scrolled through my phone, there was no pain. No reminders of a family that chose to leave me behind. They learned too late. But I had already moved on. I am not a victim. I am a survivor. A woman who took betrayal and turned it into power. And I'm finally free.